For self-worth is not negotiable. It is not something you bargain with, not something you give discounts on before, and certainly not something you surrender just to be accepted by others. Too often, people lower their value because they fear being alone because they believe that without someone's validation, they are incomplete. But the truth is, before, your worth was written into you long before anyone else had an opinion about you. It is constant, unshakable, and non-negotiable. When you truly embrace this, before you stop begging for spaces in other people's lives, you stop explaining why you deserve respect. And you stop trying to prove yourself to those who have already made the choice not to see you. Think about it, the sun does not negotiate to shine. It simply rises every day. Whether people appreciate its warmth or complain about its heat, the sun continues to do what it was meant to do. That is how you should treat your worth. You don't dim your light for anyone. You don't reduce your shine just because someone else is blind to it. Many people fall into the trap of trying to convince others to choose them. They chase friendships, relationships, and opportunities that were never meant for them hoping that constant effort will force acceptance. But forced love is not love. Forced loyalty is not loyalty. And forced respect is nothing more than tolerance. When you insist on proving yourself to people who have already overlooked you, you are not winning their heart. You are losing your dignity. Real connections, for the ones worth keeping, never require pressure. They flow naturally, without begging, without convincing, without fear of being replaced. To live with the mindset that self-worth is not negotiable is to choose peace over pressure. It is to understand that when someone walks away, they are not taking your value with them. You are not less simply because they failed to recognize what you carry. Their blindness does not define your brightness. Rejection in reality is often redirection. It clears the path for the right people to arrive, for those who see you clearly, respect you deeply and value you fully. You will notice a shift the moment you stop forcing anyone to choose you. Instead of chasing, you begin attracting. Instead of shrinking to fit someone else's comfort, you stand tall in your truth, and in that strength, you will find that the right people gravitate toward you. They will stay not because you beg them to, but because they recognize what you bring to the table and want to walk beside you willingly. Choosing yourself first, not selfish, it is necessary. It sets the standard for how others treat you. If you don't value yourself, if you constantly negotiate your worth, then you give people permission to undervalue you as well. But when you carry yourself with confidence, when you know that your presence is not a privilege to be begged for, but an honor to be earned, others rise to meet that standard. So remind yourself every day, you are not for everyone, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone is meant to understand your journey and not everyone will appreciate your presence. But the ones who are meant for you, the ones who truly belong in your life, will never need convincing. They will choose you without hesitation because they see your worth without negotiation. And that is why I never force anyone to choose me, because my value is set, my worth is certain, and my dignity is not for sale. Authenticity attracts alignment because the truest version of yourself will always magnetize the people, opportunities, and paths that are meant for you. The moment you decide to stop pretending, stop performing and stop trying to fit into roles that don't belong to you, life begins to shift in your favor. When you are authentic, you naturally filter out those who are not aligned with your values, your vision, and your energy. You stop wasting time convincing people to like you, and instead allow your real self to be the compass that guides who stays and who leaves. The world often pressures us to wear masks. We are told to act a certain way to be accepted, to talk a certain way to be respected, to live a certain way to be admired. But no matter how convincing a mask may look, it will always eventually slip. Pretending can earn temporary approval but it can never build lasting alignment. When you live inauthentically, you may gather people around you but they are not truly connected to you. They are connected to the version you created for them. That's why those relationships feel fragile, conditional, and exhausting to maintain. But authenticity is powerful because it strips away that performance. It says, this is who I am take it or leave it. And while some may leave, the ones who stay will stay for the right reasons. That is alignment. It is not about having everyone like you. It is about having the right people resonate with you. It is about creating a life where the relationships, the work, 4, and the environment around you all reflect your truth instead of your mask. Living authentically also gives you peace. 4, there is nothing heavier than pretending to be someone you're not, and there is nothing lighter than stepping into your real self. You stop feeling drained from constant performance, and instead you gain energy from simply being. That energy draws people who are on the same frequency. It draws opportunities that fit your skills and passions. It opens doors that were locked while you were busy pretending. Authenticity requires courage. It takes strength to stand firm in a world that constantly tells you to change. But the reward is freedom. The freedom of not needing to explain yourself. The freedom of not needing to prove yourself. The freedom of knowing that those around you are there because they align with your truth, not your disguise. 4, and that freedom is priceless because it allows you to grow without fear of losing people. You don't lose real ones when you grow. You only lose those who were never aligned with your authentic self to begin with. When you embrace authenticity, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop forcing doors to open and start walking through the ones that were designed for you. Alignment is not about effort. It is about resonance. When you are authentic, what is meant for you feels natural. The friendships flow, the opportunities feel exciting instead of forced. And the relationships grow without pressure. That is the beauty of alignment. It does not require convincing. It simply clicks. So remind yourself authenticity is not a weakness. It is your greatest strength. It filters, it attracts, it aligns. You don't need everyone to choose you. 4, you only need the right ones to see you, and the right ones will never ask you to change because they are aligned with the real you, not the version you perform. That is why I never force anyone to choose me, because if they are meant for me, my authenticity will be enough, and if it is not enough, then they were never meant to walk my path. Authenticity attracts alignment, and alignment leads to peace, power, and purpose. Rejection is redirection. And the sooner you embrace that truth, the lighter your journey becomes. We are conditioned to see rejection as failure, as proof that we are not good enough, not talented enough, or not worthy enough. But rejection is rarely the end of the road. More often, it is simply life telling you, this is not your door. There's another one waiting for you, and it will open at the right time. The pain comes not from rejection itself, but from our resistance to letting go. 4, we cling to what we wanted, blind to the fact that what we lost was not meant for us in the first place. 4, think about the moments in your life when you faced rejection. A job you didn't get, a relationship that didn't last, an opportunity that slipped through your hands. At the time, it felt like the worst thing that could happen. But when you look back, you realize that closed door pushed you towards something better, something more aligned with your purpose. If you had gotten that job, maybe you would never have discovered the career you love today. If that relationship had worked out, maybe you would never have met someone who truly respects and values you. Rejection is painful in the moment, but in hindsight, it often reveals itself as protection. The truth is, rejection is not personal. It doesn't always mean you are lacking. Sometimes it simply means the timing isn't right or the fit isn't right. A closed door does not diminish your worth. It just means that particular door was never meant for you to walk through. The wrong opportunities, the wrong people, the wrong paths, they can't sustain you. And so life in its wisdom removes them. What feels like loss is really clearing space for something greater. When you understand rejection as redirection, you stop chasing what isn't meant to stay. You no longer waste energy forcing doors to open. Instead, you learn to trust the process. You realize that if it didn't work out, then it wasn't supposed to. That mindset frees you from desperation and allows you to walk with dignity. You stop begging people to choose you. You stop trying to fit into places where you were never meant to belong, and you stop punishing yourself for outcomes you can't control. Rejection also teaches resilience. Every time you face it and keep moving forward, you build strength. You learn to adapt, to pivot, to grow. You realize that one no does not define you because your worth isn't determined by someone else's acceptance. In fact, rejection forces you to dig deeper. To sharpen your skills, to strengthen your character. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and into growth. Without rejection, many of us would settle for less than what we deserve because we wouldn't be pushed to seek more. There is also a hidden blessing in rejection. It reveals who and what is truly aligned with you. If someone rejects you, 4, it means they were not meant to walk with you. If an opportunity passes, it means there's another one better suited for your abilities. If a door closes, 4, it means a bigger one is preparing to open. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Begin asking, what is this teaching me? Where is this leading me? That shift in perspective turns rejection into guidance. So the next time you face rejection, don't see it as a dead end. 4, see it as a signpost pointing you toward a different path. Trust that life is not taking something away from you before, but rather moving you closer to what you were always meant to have. Remember, before, rejection is not the universe's way of saying you're unworthy. It's the universe's way of saying, not here, not now, but somewhere better before, sometimes. So rejection is not the end of your story. It is simply redirection to the chapter that was always meant to be yours. For peace over pressure is a principle that reshapes the way you live, love, and lead yourself. Too many people spend their lives forcing situations, for chasing relationships and clinging to things that are clearly resisting them. They confuse pressure with persistence, believing that the harder they push, the more they will gain. But what they really gain is exhaustion, frustration, and disappointment. True fulfillment does not come from pressure. It comes from peace. And peace is not something that arrives when everything is perfect. It is a choice you make, a decision to value your well-being over forced outcomes. Before, when you live by peace over pressure, you stop begging for places in people's lives. You stop demanding what is not freely given. For you stop convincing yourself that love, respect, and acceptance can be earned through effort alone. Real love does not require pressure. It flows. Real respect does not require constant reminders. It is given. Real opportunities do not need to be forced. They align naturally. Anything that has to be forced is never meant to last. But what arrives in peace has a way of staying, growing, and strengthening because it is rooted in authenticity rather than force. Think about the times you felt pressure to prove yourself, to be accepted, or to make someone stay. Did it bring you happiness or did it drain your spirit? Pressure may give you temporary results, but they will always come at the cost of your inner calm. And without peace, success feels empty, relationships feel fragile, and life feels like a constant battle. On the other hand, when you choose peace, you give yourself space to breathe, to reflect, and to attract what belongs to you. Peace does not mean inaction, it means choosing alignment over resistance. Life has a natural flow. Forcing things interrupts that flow. When you pressure someone to choose you, you create resistance where there should be a connection. When you pressure a situation to work, you build frustration where there should be learning. But when you release the pressure, you allow life to guide you toward what is truly meant for you. You begin to understand that rejection is not failure, it is protection. A closed door is not punishment, it is direction. And every no is simply creating space for a better yes. Peace over pressure also means valuing yourself enough to walk away from what doesn't serve you. It means recognizing that your dignity is more important than forced acceptance. It means believing that your worth is not tied to someone else's approval. For when you stand in peace, you radiate strength, and that strength attracts people and opportunities that respect you. You no longer need to chase or convince, you simply become. The beauty of peace is that it allows you to see clearly. Pressure clouds judgment, makes you desperate, and pushes you into situations that are beneath your worth. Peace, however, sharpens your vision. It helps you recognize who is real, what is right, and where you should go. It keeps you grounded when everything around you is loud, chaotic, and demanding. Choosing peace is choosing clarity, and clarity is power. So I choose peace over pressure. I choose to let go of what resists me. I choose to stop forcing people to value me and instead walk with those who already do. I choose to trust that what belongs to me will not need convincing, and what does not belong to me will never stay, no matter how hard I push. And in that choice, I find freedom, because pressure drains, but peace restores. Pressure breaks, but peace builds. Pressure forces, but peace attracts. That is why I never force anyone to choose me, because the ones who are meant for me will come in peace, not pressure. And anything that is built on peace will last far longer, stand much stronger, and bring far greater joy than anything ever built on force. Respect is earned, not demanded, because true respect cannot be forced into existence. You can demand fear, you can demand obedience, you can demand silence, But respect is something that grows naturally when people recognize your character, your actions, and your integrity. It is not something you can simply request. Before, it is something you cultivate when you live in alignment with your values, when your words and actions match, when you treat others with fairness and dignity. 4, respect becomes the byproduct of your presence. Too many people confuse fear with respect. They believe that if others are quiet around them, if others follow their instructions without question, then they are respected. But fear fades the moment the power dynamic changes. 4, the moment someone is no longer under your control, their fear disappears, and what remains is often resentment. Respect is different. 4, respect lasts even when you are not in the room. It is the way people speak about you when you're not there. Before, it is the way your name carries weight because people know you live by your principles. Respect is not about position, it is about character. 4, a title might give you authority, but only your actions can give you respect. You could be a leader in name, but if you do not act with integrity, if you belittle others, if you use your position to control rather than to serve, people will obey you, but they will not respect you. On the other hand, 4, someone without a title, without recognition, can earn immense respect simply by being consistent, trustworthy, and honorable in their everyday choices. Before, to earn respect, you must first give it. When you treat others with kindness and fairness, when you value their time, their voice, and their dignity, people naturally reciprocate. Respect is a reflection. You cannot receive it if you do not offer it. 4, those who demand respect without giving it are often left disappointed because forced respect is shallow and temporary. 4, genuine respect grows in environments where people feel valued, safe, and understood. Another truth about respect is that it requires consistency. 4, one act of kindness may inspire admiration, but true respect is built over time through repeated actions that show who you really are. Anyone can pretend for a short while, but consistency reveals character. Do you keep your promises? Do you stand firm when it's difficult? Do you treat people with the same dignity whether they can benefit you or not? 4, these are the questions that determine whether people respect you or simply tolerate you. Respect also requires humility. Before, it is not about proving that you are better than others. It is about showing that you see the worth in others. Before, people respect those who remain grounded even when they are successful, those who remain approachable even when they are powerful. Before, those who remain kind even when they are tested. Humility does not weaken respect. It strengthens it because people admire strength that does not need to boast. Before, when you understand that respect is earned, you stop wasting energy demanding it from those unwilling to give it. Instead, you focus on your actions, your growth, and your principles. You realize that the right people will always recognize your worth without being forced, and those who fail to see it are not your concern. Before, respect, like love, is meaningful only when it is given freely. So live in a way that commands respect without words. Let your actions speak louder than your demands. Before, treat people with dignity, honor your commitments, and stand tall in your values. Respect will follow you not because you demanded it before, but because you became the kind of person who naturally earns it. That is why I never force anyone to choose me, because real connections, real loyalty, and real respect cannot be demanded. They are earned, and once earned, they last. Choosing yourself first is not selfish. It is the foundation of self-respect for growth and fulfillment. Too often, people are conditioned to believe that putting others ahead of themselves is a sign of love, loyalty, or sacrifice. And while caring for others is noble, consistently abandoning yourself to please others is not love, it is neglect. When you ignore your own needs, silence your own dreams, and bury your own worth just to gain approval, you are teaching the world that you are optional. But when you choose yourself first, you set the standard that your time, your energy, and your peace are valuable. Choosing yourself first means learning to say no when something doesn't serve you. It means walking away from situations, relationships, and opportunities that drain you instead of fuel you. It is recognizing that your life is too precious to be spent begging for love, fighting for respect, or forcing a place where you're not valued. When you choose yourself, you stop chasing temporary validation from others and instead build a deeper, lasting relationship with yourself. And that relationship sets the tone for everything else in your life. Think of it like this. If you're always pouring into everyone else's cup while ignoring your own, eventually you'll run dry. And when you run dry, not only do you suffer, before, but you also have nothing left to give. By choosing yourself first, you refill your own cup before, and only then can you pour into others from a place of strength instead of exhaustion. It is not about abandoning people. It is about refusing to abandon yourself before, because the truth is, if you don't stand up for your own needs, no one else will. There will always be people who interpret your self-respect as arrogance. They may call you selfish for setting boundaries or accuse you of changing when you decide to prioritize your peace. But that says more about them than it does about you. People who truly care for you will never be offended by you choosing yourself before, because they understand that a stronger, healthier you benefits everyone. Those who resist your growth were only comfortable with you staying small. 4, choosing yourself also means trusting your own vision. Too often, we put our dreams on hold waiting for others to support us, to believe in us, or to walk with us. But sometimes the path is yours alone. And if you don't believe in your dream enough to pursue it by yourself, no one else will. Choosing yourself first is choosing your future, your goals, and your purpose, even when others don't understand. Before, it's having the courage to walk away from comfort zones and step into the unknown because you refuse to settle for less than what you deserve. Before, when you choose yourself first, you also stop negotiating your worth. You no longer lower your standards just to be accepted. Before, you no longer tolerate disrespect disguised as love. You no longer stay silent when your voice deserves to be heard. Instead, you walk with dignity before, because you know that the right people will never be pushed away by your self-respect. In fact, they will admire it. 4, choosing yourself teaches others how to treat you. It sends a message: if I can honor myself, you must honor me too. At the end of the day, you only have one life. 4, if you spend it always choosing others at the expense of yourself, you will wake up one day realizing you lived for everyone but you. And regret is a heavy weight to carry. But when you choose yourself, you give yourself permission to live fully, to love freely, and to walk proudly in your truth. You create a life that feels aligned instead of forced, authentic instead of empty. That is not selfish. It is necessary. So I never force anyone to choose me, because I have already chosen myself. And in that choice, I find freedom, strength, and peace. The people meant for me will celebrate that decision, not fight it. Before, because choosing yourself first is not just about valuing your own life. It is about teaching the world that your presence is a privilege, and your worth is non-negotiable.